Tim and Matt Hasselbeck, Chris Mortensen. I'm Wendy Nix from NFL Live. As we look out west of the LA Rams, obviously they came close to a championship. Their goal first to win the division, Mort, as you pointed out, and then to get back into the playoffs. Let's start with Todd Gurley. There was some trepidation about the way his season ended. Where is he now, and what kind of concerns are we talking about?
Yeah, think about Todd Gurley's season last year. He was given the big contract, biggest contract of the running backs in the NFL, and then and he played to that level. Mm-hmm. But then all of a sudden, as the season wears on, we find out he has a degenerative knee, an arthritic knee, and it's the same knee that he tore the ACL in at University of Georgia. So therefore, this is a condition that is going to be monitored the rest of his career. And I think that they've taken it slow this offseason. They'll take it slow in training camp, and it means that their running back depth chart is pretty important to them.
It really is, and I think the nice thing for them is that Todd Gurley is a guy. First of all, it's a pretty simple running scheme. You know, it's a zone running scheme. But Todd Gurley is a guy, when it comes to pass protection, is so good. I mean, he is so good at pass protection. You think about the guys, Zeke Elliott, Todd Gurley, those are the two guys that come to mind when I think of pass pro. And so he doesn't necessarily need those reps in practice, in minicamp, in training camp that other guys might need. And so I think they'll be able to survive with him on a limited practice basis all season long and still have that production if they can get production with some of the other running backs by committee.
Listen, I just think there's legitimate concern, though. I mean, we get into the postseason. C.J. Anderson basically plays more than Todd Gurley plays. You know, they re-signed Malcolm Brown, who was injured last year, to be his backup. They draft a running back in the third round. And so they obviously have some concerns about the position of at least the depth behind him. And so over a 16-game season, and obviously hopefully beyond that, if you're the Rams and you think about their roster, listen, there's a lot of wear and tear for a guy that wasn't able to finish the season as strongly as he started it.
So let me ask you this. This offense has been first and second in scoring under the 2 seasons that Sean McVay has been the head coach of this team. Is there any reason to believe that trend doesn't continue, that they will be in that upper echelon of teams that put points on the board?
I think the danger, sometimes what happens is you have a coach from your staff leave. So Zach Taylor now goes and he's with the Cincinnati Bengals. He's kind of seen behind the curtain there. And so now some of your secrets are out there. Guys in the coaching community, they talk. You spend an offseason, and so take the NFC West. They're going to spend an offseason looking at the top offense. Okay, how do we stop this offense? How do we stop this zone scheme? No team last year was under center more than the LA Rams. So, okay, we're going to have a focus on that. And so, yeah, you got a target on your back if you're the LA Rams. But I think the biggest thing for me with this Rams offense, they need to build on what they had with Jared Goff as a passer. There were too many times where the running game wasn't working, the other D-line was more physical than their O-line, and they weren't able to pass it in known passing situations. I think that's where they got to step up.
Does Jared Goff deserve, or has he earned an extension?
Well, yeah, but the question is how much. He's not in Carson Wentz's class in terms of talent, but in terms of availability, he's there, and he is very good. Now, listen, they've lost a couple offensive linemen. The one thing about the Rams, the teams will tell you, is that every play looks the same up front, right? They block every play the same, no matter whether they're running, passing, or whatever they're doing. So they have some adjustments to make. But what I'd like to see is the utilization of their tight ends, Gerald Everett and Higbee. The other tight end. I think that might happen this year.
You asked about Jared Goff. I think one thing that Jared Goff does not get enough credit for, he is a very, very good deep ball thrower. And I know there might be some guys that can throw it like more miles an hour or something like that, but Jared Goff as a deep ball thrower is a real weapon, and I think that's why they've been so productive also.
He's been available. He's quarterbacked the team to a Super Bowl. I think that when you get into that, listen, you're in the Carson Wentz zip code in terms of money, in my estimation, and I would not be surprised if it was more.
Well, NFL Live will continue this discussion every weekday, 1:30 Eastern.